We're standing aboard the motor yacht Golden Shadow, a beautiful ship. It's 220-foot logistical support ship that we use for oceanographic research. And we're here in Miami because this is the new temporary home port for the Caribbean stage of our Global Reef Expedition. And we'll be beginning the Global Reef Expedition right at the end of April 2011. And the first research area is called Key Sal Banks, Bahamas. Prince Khaled bin Sultan of Saudi Arabia built some big ships about 12 years ago. And one of the ships is perfect for oceanographic research. And so the ship started being used in the late 1990s by many oceanographers. Some from Scripps Institute of Oceanography, some from the University of Hawaii, and others. And that was the genesis for the formation of the Khaled bin Sultan Living Oceans Foundation, which was established in the year 2000. The Global Reef Expedition is really about closing the scientific gaps in knowledge about how coral reef systems function around the world. And I think that's the most critical hurdle to get over and really implementing good conservation measures for these coral reef ecosystems around the world. The Living Oceans Foundation has been in existence now for 10 years, and we just celebrated some marvelous accomplishments for our 10-year anniversary. And for the past 5 years, we've been planning an ambitious program called the Global Reef Expedition, where we'll circumnavigate the globe surveying remote coral reefs for the next 5 years. Right now, human civilization is witnessing, and I'll say participating in, a huge coral reef crisis. And the reasons for this coral reef crisis are not completely known, but we do know enough to understand that huge population of the Earth has put great stressors on these coral reefs that are very fragile ecosystems. And so we want to understand these mechanisms better. We want to understand, first of all, what's putting stress on these coral reefs, and secondly, how we can mitigate those stressors. There's another element to this besides a huge population around the Earth. There's a climate change impact that we're really starting to become concerned about. The warming temperatures around the world are starting to put great stress on these coral reefs. What happens is that they bleach and they turn white and then die. And so when the temperature tolerances are exceeded, we're seeing these large-scale die-offs of the reef. There's one other really important impact that we're concerned about, and that is that the oceans are becoming more acidic, and that's very harmful to all of the skeleton-forming organisms in the ocean. And of course, coral reefs are one of the major skeleton-forming organisms. So if the ocean acidity continues to change, then we're afraid that these coral reefs will start to deteriorate and change dramatically for the worse. We know that there are a lot of stressors put on these coral reef ecosystems by man, by population and the industrial age. So there's a lot of pollution, there's sedimentation, there's a lot of runoff from streets and factories and things like that start to become chronic stressors on these coral reef ecosystems. And we're convinced scientifically that if you remove a lot of these man-made stressors, then coral reefs are very resilient naturally. And so one of our goals in the Global Reef Expedition is to really understand the local stresses that are put on these coral reefs and help managers remove and manage the ecosystems so that in the face of some climate change impacts that we're anticipating, these coral reefs will have the natural resilience to recover from some of the natural impacts such as hurricanes and bleaching from exceptionally warm temperatures. There's almost 7 billion people on the earth right now. And recently I saw a National Geographic article that showed it's not just the population that's impacting the earth, it's a combination of population, technology, and affluence of the earth's population. And that really increases the footprint of humans on the earth. So when you think about it like that, one of the ways we can improve the conditions of the earth and the oceans is to reduce our impact. And so individual consumer choices are really important. And we really have to reduce what we use. The 3 R's are still very applicable. The reduce, recycle, and reuse, I think, are really important in our lifestyle choices and the way we impact the earth. We're a very science-based organization, but we also need to be able to communicate the outputs from this scientific research to the managers and decision makers and all of the coral reef countries around the world to empower them to take the action on the ground to conserve these resources.